Welcome back, all you beautiful brave hearts, and starting as Monday, this beautiful week where we are doing another Braveheart Studio Nation wonderful show with the real Dr. Judy Mikovits. And I know that I got to interview on Friday with John Richardson, and now we have a weekend, and she's going to share with us what the whole week is going to be for her because she's constantly on the move and doing something new and something amazing. So welcome, Dr. Judy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. A little bit flustered because I found out my plane ticket was tomorrow and not Wednesday. So it's like, oh, that was a bad move. But fortunately, they reminded me I'm not flying Wednesday. And so the good news is, the message never changes.
Well, that's good to know, right?
Right.
So what are we
And
talking about today? What do we want our audience to know about before we go on to our week?
Well, what we're talking about at all of these events, as we're traveling, is really nutrient sensing. We how we sense nutrients, whether those nutrients are oxygen. How do we sense nutrients in our environment? Nutrients that we get from our food, nutrients that we get from vegetables.
So we're going through a scientific look at exactly what happens when we're taking up nutrients in our body. It's like
Yeah,
this is the bird's eye. This is inside bird's eye view.
well, right, and it's words that it's why we now appreciate from everything we appreciate from COVID-19. Really the gift in it all is the wake up call was the wake up call to America that basically we've been lied to. Aging isn't um, a genetic disease. We don't uh, like, for instance, where the obesity, the chronic disease epidemic is because our air is poison, our food is poison, our soil is dead. Roundup is not a weed killer; it's a soil killer. So we haven't gotten sunlight to human, skin for generations. And I say that in a very specific reason, and that way, because somehow we came to believe that the sun poisons us or causes cancer, when, exactly the opposite is true. So what the chronic disease epidemic is, and this is what, our friends, my friend Bobby Kennedy, but my hero Secretary Kennedy, um Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, and so, because to try to communicate to an audience, um when a language hasn't been used for 100 years in our schools, in our education system, and probably more like 200 years. And I think Kennedy said that very well last week, as I saw on the news. It's been 200 years of corruption. It might even be 250, but that would be bad because we've only been a nation 249 in a few years. So the corruption started the day after, the Declaration of Independence, going in there and attempting to destroy what our communities built together. And I'm using particular words like communities because that's how our cells communicate, and our bodies, as we like to say, or my pastor Rob McCoy says, there's no such thing as autoimmunity. The body of Christ doesn't attack itself. But of course, we found in COVID-19, in fact, that, yes, um, this so-called one nation under God here in America is attacking itself. We have been attacked from within. We did detonate bioweapons, and we have World War III ongoing now as we speak, and everybody can see the chaos. Well, chaos isn't how our immune systems are orchestrated. We have a conductor that conducts the music so that every instrument, every cell, every group of cells, every microenvironment, they speak when spoken to. Sorry, I'm playing word games today just because I'm we're going to keep showing this because the words don't necessarily mean anything, but at the heart of all chronic disease is inflammaging. These are not inborn errors of metabolism. They are not got genetic diseases. They are epigenetic diseases. That means the expression of our genomes have been altered, and so altered not by a shot, not by but by the simple fact that for since 1934 we've been injecting directly into the blood mouse, monkey, cow, pig, aborted fetal, mRNA, messenger RNA. Capital M means manufactured mRNA. It's synthetic, and that has been every shot since 1986. Every shot since 1986 has been a COVID shot. Whether you shot your cows, your dogs, your pigs, your chickens, and I use the word shot because we use words like cull, and we cull. Oh, what does culling mean? What do these things mean? So, and that's why in education, I will often get frustrated, and this is why I need beautiful people like you, Cheryl, to translate. Because, this in 1992, Frank Rossetti won the Distinguished Service Medal, some kind of silver medal, the highest award at the NIH for an employee of the NIH. Our National Institutes of Health is 22 or 23 institutes. The National Cancer Institute, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, the National Institute of um, AIDS, acquired immune disease, which was the misnamed allergy and infectious disease on purpose in 1984 by Tony Fauci. So we use all these meaningless letters, and we redefine words and nature and science, and we completely change the meaning of the language since 1934 because the literature, whether you call them the Institute of Medicine, that for more than 100 years was called our United States National Academy of Sciences. Oh, the National Academy of Sciences was a club of mostly men that, in fact, controlled a journal, the proceeding of the National Academy of Sciences, and they got to publish two papers a year, basically saying whatever they wanted. And then if somebody wanted to submit to them, and you had a friend, so they were the gatekeepers of science. And the reason why I'm explaining this exceptionally slowly today, is because that's what's in our four books. That's what's in our three books in the plague series. But the fact that there are four book covers, people don't realize the paperback of plague is somehow fraud. And we'll go to that later. So it's a lot fraud, and it's controlled by the corrupt media. Scientific journals are not scientific journals. Medical journals are not scientific journals. An MD PhD, where the PhD part of it was a clinical commercial for pharma, where they handed you a drug and told you what to do, and you did it and poisoned a population. And then they controlled the publications. That's not a scientific paper. And people don't recognize that the so-called peer-reviewed journal system and the what we call the, let's see, what did they call it in 92 when they did it? It was they set up what they called what impact factor of journals. So they lined up all the medical journals, one like PNAS. You can't even get in that one. That's not an open public journal, peer reviews. That's criminals in the Institute of Medicine now, or the National Academies of Sciences, that name themselves, and members were accepted. Why don't we just say, if you would agree to perpetrate fraud? And those are the same members that were given prizes called Nobel Prizes, or in this country, the Nobel Prize is called the Lasker Award. So you see, the members of the club publish, and then they commit criminal fraud by changing the meaning, particularly of everything that happened since 1992, by Frank Rossetti, Bruce Lipton, Candace Pert, the 333 odd references in Frank CV. Curriculum vitae is your life's work. A resume is a commercial, and it doesn't have to be the facts, and it can tell the facts in a different way. And this is what you're seeing in the public eye. So the big fight here is the medical deities, that have proclaimed themselves God and have told you this figure on the screen has a different meaning than the one it had in 1992, when this figure and the epigenetics, you'll see it on the next slide. What my PhD work, which I started in 1988, and you don't have to go to the next slide. I'll sit here for a minute, and I'll go on. So, which I started in 1988. And I'm saying this because what I really want your audience to do is listen to our books. Listen to them, buy them, and read them, and listen, but listen to them on audio, because the words don't mean the same thing. So if you get caught reading the references or trying to translate in your head, you're not going to get there. So between 2019 um, and actually from 1992, when Frank won from Bernadine Healy, she was the head of the NIH when he was awarded the award for this. And what it said was this thing called transforming growth factor beta, not alpha, not gamma, not alpha epsilon delta, how we name the factors, according to Greek alphabets and other things. These are factors that are important for the regulation, the master regulator. And it's not an on off switch. It's a dimmer switch. It goes both ways of the hematopoietic stem cell. Well, what is hematopoiesis? What is a hematoma? What does the word mean? It's this figure on the left. So until we had the technology, this is what Frank Rossetti's entire body of work up to 92 showed that the dogma in the literature says on off, block it, block it. Don't modulate it. Don't restore balance. Just block it. This is what John Richardson and I talked about and everything. No, it's not a blockage. It's a stall. It's a stall because a nutrient is missing. So when you accelerate myelopoiesis, the hematopoietic stem cell, when you are inflamed, you cannot heal. When you are inflamed, you cannot heal. I stare at this 24/7. This is literally Frank Rossetti's entire body of work. He was awarded that national medal for it and my PhD thesis and all the work of every student under him until 1992. And at that point, each student goes off and takes their work, and then they focus their life's work on an aspect of that. So not this knowledge and helping Frank Rossetti as a student, I had to learn every aspect of what he went on in his lab. But my passion and my focus was not this. And if you listen to the book Ending Plague, I think it will get there later. But so what this slide says very simply is a pluripotent, not totipotent stem cell, not embryonic stem cell, not mesenchymal stem cell. You hear people say things like, I took a stem cell patch. Which one? Which stem cell are you going to direct in which direction? Well, if you're going to play God, that's not going to go very well for you. And you're called not to lean on your own understanding. You're supposed to lean and call upon a teacher. You're supposed to educate yourself. You're supposed to be your own doctor, not practitioner. You could practice the art, but you might want to get a practitioner or a coach like Cheryl in a system where you resonate with how it's being taught. And I've told you my perspective based on my education and who my teachers were and what my philosophy, my degree, my philosophy degree was from George Washington University. I defended my PhD thesis November 14th, 1991. The Dallas Buyers Club, and again, we like to show you the movies and educate you because your mind has been poisoned And I recognize that most people in the world can't read this slide. That's why it's written in Braille. That's why it's shown in 2D. That's why it's shown in pictures. And and I play word games with you most of the week. So this the key part about this is that you're looking at that pluripotent stem cell on the right side of the screen, and you're looking at it from a paper that was published in 2000, and I think it was somewhere around 17, and I've got to find this paper. I know where it is on my computer. But what it's showing you there is a different perspective. It's showing you from this perspective of the cannabinoid, endocannabinoid sensors, the nutrients of fat sensing, the nutrients of lipophagy, not autophagy. And when people say autophagy, fine, it just means you eat yourself. Autophagy, no, you don't eat yourself. But when you are being poisoned and you don't have any food, water, air, sunlight, you are poisoning one aspect of your totipotent stem cell system, and your pluripotent stem cell has to put out the flame. That's what a myeloid cell does. And again, that's your innate immune response. It senses and you don't think about it. And it only senses in structures, shape. Your innate immune system sees shape. That's why you don't flatten. That's why you don't poke holes in your skin. That's why you don't wear sunglasses that are shading out certain nanometers. Oh, 10 to the minus 9, a nanobot, folks. Yes, we do have nanometer of light down to a single 10 to the minus 9, down to one nanobot. You shoot the right color of light at the cells. That's what an eosinophil is. That's why your red blood cells, they're red blood cells. They carry oxygen. And on the right-hand side, I didn't show that big enough so that you could read what the factors were that were the green lights and what were the red lights. So all you're looking at is your all the way to the right, my right, and what Cheryl's looking at there is um your pluripotent stem cell, hematopoietic stem cell shown on the left, and then that's your osteoclast precursor. That's going to break down your bones. Oh, if it gets a signal, for all I need to say is those four things in the green light are the cytokine signature of COVID. Oh, whether you call it Ebola, whether you call it Zika, whether you call it H1N1 bird flu, AIDS, whether you call it HIV, whether you call it the gamma retroviruses that you injected in mouse brain in 1934. The whole point of the slide is so you change the words in order to create a reality which wasn't true then and is not true now. Not that there wasn't an AIDS, an acquired immune disease, because that's all this is. It never was allergy and infectious disease. The word allergy is a meaningless term, an absolute meaningless term. You were injected with poison, therefore, you never developed, according to this slide, exactly as God would have had you develop from conception, from womb to tomb. because the last time you see your God-given endocannabinoid system, endogenous means in your genes, not in a cow's gene, not in another human's gene. You don't inject, aborted fetal cell mRNA, DNA, and protein into a day-old baby. But at the end of the day, you did. They did. They do it to this day. And that's why I want you to watch the movie Protocol 7. Because then you're going to see how the pharma companies and the shills with Fauci and pharma, the PH turned F. It's not a pharma anymore. So when all liability was removed in 1986, and Tony Fauci told Ronald Reagan when the lawsuits were winning in 1986, Barbara Loe Fisher's book, A Shot in the Dark, A Shot in the Dark. Oh, no, that wasn't Candace Owens. That was Barbara Loe Fisher. And the book was 1984, it was published. And from when all liability was removed from pharma and MDs, medical deities with a PH, and not PhD, medical deities, and that includes chiropractors or naturopathic, any doctor that couldn't get out of their own way and teach the truth and didn't know this and didn't even ask the question of what was in the needle. This is why I love my hero, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and her book Zero. This is why we showed you the heroes of the faith. So, in subsequent shows, and I'm not sure I can be on Friday. I have to check. So, remind me, Cheryl, because I'm traveling to Florida, and this is why we want you to. Every one of us is going to be in Florida, now for several events where we teach you how to stay awake, meaning don't fall asleep, don't be confused. Please stop running and using their words. Please stop look what so and so discovered, as if they just knew that. No, they didn't just know that. They just changed the words. Nattokinase is neither natto nor a kinase. It's from 1980. Do we know what it does now? Yes, we do. So here is, you're breaking down the bones. Whether you called it Ebola in 14, whether you called it Zika in 17, whether you called it AIDS in 1991, at the end of the day, the science never changed. And the two scientists never stopped screaming, Frank Rossetti and Judy Mikovits. The rest of them are dead. The rest of them are dead, murdered, called COVID. Whether it's, the beautiful Jeff Bradstreet healing the autistic kids, you know, um, and Autism One, Terry Aranga's beautiful husband, Ed. They did that with their sick kids. Carrie Rivera, all the way back with, yeah, chlorine dioxide. President Trump tried to tell you chlorine dioxide is not bleach. Wink, wink, nod, nod. He stood there. You couldn't put a bigger scowl on his face when he's looking at the scarf lady. She's going to slice your throat again if you say, oh, look how much better we can do long COVID now. We can kill them in a heartbeat with the bioweapon du jour in an airport where we don't need an injection anymore. The lab workers don't even have to wear lead coats when they're around radiation because they've already injected us. That's what, what was her name? Melinda Gates said in Plandemic and Dr. donation. So, the edification. What does edification mean? And fortification mean? It never was fortified milk. The cow didn't need help, and neither did your God. You poison the soil, you poison the grass. That glyphosate caused cancer in a court of law, awarded a 5-year case in 2014, caused the very turbo cancer they're all lying about now. Thank you, John Richardson. That's what we were praying for. Thank you, John and Dr. Darrell. See, the intestine, and we cut out everybody's intestine. Oh, you're fat. Let's just put you on TV, Al Rocar, and cut out your stomach. And then they come and they call me and they're like, Judy, I saw you on, I'll give you an example, Jonathan or Otto's stem cell, talk, or Ed Group in Global Healing on that show you did over the last, yeah. And so I bought all that stuff. Well, what are you doing, doctor? Dr. Glenn, I hope you hear me. What are you doing, doctor? Because you cut out 3/4 of your stomach. And now you're bedridden and you can't move. And I got to rework the nutrients because you lost half of the microbiomes, or 2/3 of the microbiota in your gut. You can't just eat the same things, and you especially can't take these pills. None of them, unless you're working with a professional that knows how. That's why we put the people on the heroes and healers of the faith, because they were heroes only because when they didn't understand this, they kept communicating with me and each other until they could. So you see, you will never build the bone cells of the brain, and all the way to the far left is your synaptic nerve terminal. That's coming from your mesenchymal stem cell. That's your serotonin. What is ADR beta 2? And the green light you see on that? Oh, they called that a non canonical, meaning it wasn't of God, their God, Tony Fauci. The science. I'm not the science. God in nature is the science, but nothing in nature is true. The food is poison. So, and you're not getting the answers, but yet the clues to that are already there. And the godly scientists, the true doctors, took the heat. Many of them murdered, fought for that, what is it? To lay down your life for your neighbor. It may not be asked of you, but you're called, and you say, okay, then, and you speak the truth in love. You get out there in the Ecclesiastes in the town square and you shout it from the rooftop. And that's why I'm grateful to you. So the pathway activators are green, the pathway blockers, inhibitor, block it, are red. So you see, you can't get there from here unless you take a natural product. You can never heal. The patches will give you symptom relief, just like the drugs they create, but they know you've got no nutrients. They know you've got no air. They know you've got no water. They know the soil's dead. So, and all you vegans will run around and say, I'm holier than thou. God didn't make everything for food, like he said in the Bible. That's you. There's only one God, and it's not you. And what Roundup is a soil killer. And Bobby Kennedy, Aaron Siri, and Children's Health Defense told you that, and appeared when there wasn't a Children's Health Defense. It used to be the Autism One conference in Chicago every Memorial Day. Our friend Rashid Buttar picked that up until he was murdered a few years ago. And we talked about that with John. So the next slide shows you that not because it's of any arrogance. I'm not saying we beat them. I'm saying the royal we beat them, the godly people, Chinese guys with a spelling problem, genius, Genyous, Chinese guys with a spelling problem in your gene, US, Chinese guys with a spelling problem in your gene. You're totipotent, you're omnipotent, you're total power. How do you get your power back? Anustat. It's not a thermostat. The word anu intended to remove it back to balance. And it's done in a platform technology. This was patented in 2010. But I met these Chinese guys with a spelling problem in 2005, the first time I ever heard the word CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, long COVID, and that's when I started my PhD. We scientists were told, oh, the fact that only 1 in 10,000 T cells, the last slide was the T cells. So every other cell protects the T cell. We could go back to that, Rafa, and just show you that the last slide there, see the T cell? So it's all the way to the left, my left of that slide. What does TGF beta do? Wait a minute. It's the on off switch. It blocks this one, it blocks that one, it blocks even the B cells. It saves all your energy for your T cells. That's your adaptive immune response. So now you're no longer inflamed. You're not in accelerated inflammaging. You're not aging. All those fire trucks don't have to go to the fire. You don't need chemokines. You don't need cytokines. Chemokines are the trafficking molecules, and you don't need them. So you will make your adaptive immune response. Your mesenchymal stem cell will work on all cylinders and you will build the body. Not build back better, build back according to God. Not build back according to Satan and the cure du jour, which is the poison du jour. So when you look at the next slide, the disease engine, so you see, when I met these guys in 2005, what is this? Well, I went to Epigenics Pharmaceuticals, a startup company. May 14th of 2001 was my first day in Santa Barbara, California. Well, the other half of Frank Rossetti's, one of the parts, not half, Frank is the genius that did do all of this. So I'm just a student. I was one of many students, but I was the one that was the epigenetics because I'm an identical twin. It's my passion to understand how I'm different from my twin. She hates it when I say it, but you got to live with it. Sorry. And because it matters, because we're genetically identical, but we are not epigenetically identical. That means on top of the genes. That's your environment. That's your X chromosome. That's why every human has to have an X chromosome. You're not getting your hair color from it. You're not getting your other things. It's your antivirus. It's your entire epigenetic, what you look like when you're born, how you behave, how you respond according to the all the way back to your grandmother and beyond. It'll go all the way back through the generations. And please don't do stupid stuff like what's it called? Ancestry.com. That's a lie. That's fraud. It has nothing to do with your ancestry. This Bible does, where you put the names of your relatives. You're not going to forget. Anyway, so what we developed here when we met them. So they worked with me and Frank, who did not retire until he was forced out in 13. But in 2004, he was working with me in Carlsbad, where our company, Epigenics, moved in 2001 and built a lab to do all of this. Oops, all our financial agreements were closed 9/12/01. What does that mean? We lost everything in the small businesses called Epigenics, where we took my intellectual property, my life's work. Your taxpayers paid me from the second I walked in college. The intellectual property goes to the small business who developed it on a small business grant, up to the fact that we never stopped. We lost every penny we ever made. And we just said, and then God brought us Jim Dow and Jerry Nordskog. Listen to the healers of the faith. You'll hear all the other heroes that Jerry talked about. I didn't even know half of that when he talked. That was the blessing of that day. The gift for me is, yeah, Judy, and so much you didn't know, but I just trusted because I trust God. When I lead from that, I lead from that everywhere. Well, we've developed a platform and it's based on foods, but not GMO foods. Anything genetically modified is a microbe. 10 to the minus 6, you see it with a microscope. 10 to the minus 9 is a nano. You see it with an electron microscope. It is a proton. It is a neutron. It is an electron. It is gas. You don't see it. The wind blows and you see the trees, but you see nothing else. Please don't put on a mask and suffocate yourself and add some fuel, jet fuel, if you're wearing the plastic black one for that, or the Chinese one with I've showed you the shards of metal. PCR, polymerase chain reaction, has nothing to do with a virus other than we can see the sequence of what would be translated into a structure that would be a poison in nature that your immune system could sense. So this is all the work leading up to that, and patent after patent, and the patent is on our website, therealdrjudy.com. So you see, you get damage from a distance, whether your cow was genetically modified or your tomato was genetically modified. Everything organic has carbon in it, but DMSO is deadly. Because every bioweapon in that sky is being pulled right into your skin. It's almost a universal solvent. Please stop. Please do not use a hand sanitizer. Please go out and understand what nature is and what soaps are. And this was a big, big key. And I want everybody to listen again to Heroes of the Faith, because this is the regulation. It's a smart platform. It's safe and it's synergistic. It's multivalent mechanism of action, meaning you don't target one thing. You protect everything. So that T cell on the last slide. So all I'm looking at is the poisons in your environment. And then I'm talking to the practitioner, Cheryl, as the educator, and I'm saying, okay, I want you to add this nutrient, supplement with this one once you've got a foundation for healing all things COVID. And that's why the gift from God was the download from God to John Hewlett in 2007. 2007, I saw a product, and it may be on the next slide, Cardio Miracle. It may not. I'll talk to whatever it is there. Yes, this is even before that, because what is dimethylglycine? Two methyl group, CH3, carbon. You can't tax carbon, but on glycine in the environment. Notice in this particular thing. Supplemental DMG is because DMG comes from grass, and cows eat grass. Humans don't eat grass. Choline is an egg yolk. You dipped your egg yolks in Clorox bleach, not chlorine dioxide, Clorox bleach, and every single bioweapon in the air in the grocery store, the pig parts, every shot during the day. This book was from 2000. Bill, and it was re-released from 1980s because I remember learning this in college. It was on my shelf when beautiful Dr. Tracy Strauss showed me this. I'm like, wait a minute. And I went over to my bookshelf and I said, "You mean this one?" And it says how a breakthrough nutrient. Well, why is it a breakthrough nutrient? Because we didn't understand MTHFR, the methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, takes the nutrients from the soil. Adenylyl methionine is what methionine is in the soil. And it uses ATP in order to put an adenylate group on the methionine. And then that compound makes 41 different transmethylation. So it's the on-off switch, the building blocks for modifying choline, egg yolks, vitamins, hormones, antibodies, and neurotransmitters. We must eat egg yolks. You cannot be vegan unless you're at group. Just saying. I mean, unless you can get healthy food and you know this. If you don't know this, you are driving that disease engine, not because you've been poisoned by the virus du jour, the poison of the day, the poison of the week. You don't even know what's being sprayed through your store. But all the way down there, notice the donations of methyl groups. This was my PhD. It strengthens genomic pathways so anybody preventing disease, preventing disease, preventing disease. It's an amino acid. It protects our DNA. So anybody worried about your DNA? Go get dimethylglycine from Global Healing and the things we show you. That's why we're teaching you. But it's not the only thing. You have to learn. We put the central building blocks of the nutrients, nutrition. And the bottom of that book says how a breakthrough nutrients gives cancer, autism, and cardiovascular patients a second chance at health. They didn't say disease, they said health, not disease. Well, they're nutrients, and homocysteine used to be a biomarker for a heart attack. But you see that ATP gets remade when we finish methylating everything. S-adenosyl homocysteine releases the adenosine, your basic building block, and makes more ATP. It's an engine. It doesn't lose energy. You don't get brain fog. You don't get tired. Homocysteine, we put glycine with a methyl group is when it donates it back, it becomes serine when you add back a methyl group that it gets from your food, from your cows. You don't eat grass, and even if you do, it won't metabolize. You'll just keep poisoning yourself. So wheatgrass tastes disgusting for a reason. Know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So then you build back to cysteine, and then you make glutathione. So if you take nattokinase and you don't understand that nattokinase is not a kinase or natto, it's a serine protease, and the literature's all on our website, then you will simply create what looks like bird flu, and everybody will win as they kill the chickens and poison the rest of the humans because you weren't smart enough, or actually the word isn't smart enough, because you weren't humble enough. That's what beautiful Dr. Dana said, is we need Saul to Paul conversions. I know we've got you because you've been patient enough to listen to me for 40 years. What we need are the medical data, the Saul to Paul conversion. So I'm going to leave it there, Cheryl, so that you can show. I'm sure the next picture is just something they've seen before, but my audience is telling me, yes, there's your nattokinase. Go back to the last one and we'll just end it there because I said it. There. Here's a paper from 2019. So you're either creating fibrolytic, meaning makes fibers. Hemp makes rope. Please don't use hemp. Please don't use CBD unless you know what you're doing. And please don't smoke this stuff. You're just making rope into your lungs. You're creating COVID and you're helping them. Fibrolytic serine proteases, therapeutic serpins, and inflammation. Does our body create fire dancers or fire storms? Nattokinase is a deadly drug. It's not a natural product. It's been modified from the natural product. Fermented soybeans are disgusting. When you take away the disgusting, when you remove the sense of taste and smell, you want to lick that white stuff growing on the top of that, you'll do it for a little while, just like a bitter apricot seed that hasn't been GMO'd. You can only buy them. They're all genetically modified, just like all of that's why I say don't do an infusion. You cannot infuse Myers cocktail anymore. You cannot infuse vitamin C. You cannot infuse. Why? Because it's made from corn syrup, your vitamin C, and that's going to kill them. It's not coming from an orange. It's not coming from a carotenoid, a carrot, or a tomato, because they're all mixed carotenoids, mixed tocopherols. You don't take vitamin E, you have mixed tocopherols. You don't know what that is because your doctors, your teachers have never been taught, because they killed all of us and called it COVIDs once they created their explosion of chronic disease. Now they think you've got them, as they've told you, Johnson and Johnson, from womb to tomb. No, I mean from cradle to grave. We've got you from cradle to grave. No, they don't, because God's got me from womb to tomb. And so these are the papers I've been trying to teach, but your arrogance refused to learn them. And so that's where the crimes against humanity continue, because if we cannot humble ourselves and learn, then it will be over for us as one nation under God, indivisible. I'm going to say the Pledge of Allegiance with liberty and justice for all. I know these pathways. We created this nightmare with Eliquis. We created this nightmare with warfarin. We created this, but at least you could test that one with Xarelto. We knew we created this disaster, and that's why everybody lived too long. Now you got the neuroimmune disease and you don't die, and you're costing the country a fortune. So take it from here, Cheryl, and let's listen to the rest of where we're going, because the classes matter now that you're waking up, that we do this slower, and why I'm trying really hard not to lose my temper, and because I recognize and I feel for the people that are here are trying the hardest they can, and that's why I'm so blessed that we can teach those practitioners, and now it's set up, and we'll have all of this here in a few months. So there you are. What is weight loss? I really want you to, it's not weight loss, it's tissue remodeling. It's not weight loss, it's are you metabolizing your fat? So take it, Cheryl.
Well, I always learn so much, Dr. Judy, and you're right, because you're right. We're not overweight as a country. We are over toxic and over poisoned. And so when you see all these diets out there, and let's see what the word means, diet, right? So people get on these roller coaster rides and then they feel so awful because as they're releasing these fat cells and the toxins and the poisons, they do not know how to get them out of their system in a way that's healthy and good for you. So I love that people are on here. But yes, we are having our spring into summer sale because something happens when spring comes and we get this renewed energy that says, okay, I'm going to get right back on that horse, but this time I'm going to do it from a place of knowledge and understanding. So as Dr. Judy was saying, I am a master practitioner. I have a power pack clinic up in Northern California, Occidental Health and Healing. If you have any questions, if you want to know how to start your journey of healing, give me a call, 707-322-1979. And guess what? We've got Gold Care coming to the DACA Detox platform, and it is a special world event. I mean, all these amazing people are coming. Dr. Dana Granberg-Nil, Dr. Simone Gold, we have Dr. Daryl Wolfe, we got 18 world leading healers, and that's going to be Sunday, July 13th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You need to go to bhnuniversity.com and sign up so that you get the links, not just for the show, but for the Q&As, which are amazing because Dr. Judy and Daryl will make themselves available to answer questions from the shows. And that's going to be Monday, July 14th from 12 to 2, and Tuesday, July 15th from 7 to 10. So you want to educate yourself, and all these people are volunteering their time. It's the most amazing place and platform you can start this journey on, okay? So these are all our amazing events that are going on. When you go to bhnuniversity.com and you look at the events, this is going to tell you all of these are free to you. That means that you can sign up, you can check in, you can start educating yourself. And like I said, these are amazing, amazing individuals coming and doing this with us. So, they say we were banned from Facebook because we tell the truth. We're off, we're on. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They can't drop us off of our platform. And we're growing. 20,000 new brave hearts are joining us every day. And I'm telling you, people want to know the truth because our message is free to the world, right? We're not charging anybody for this information. We are so dedicated to the human population becoming inflammation free because, as Dr. Judy said, when you have inflammation, no healing is going to happen. And this is why we want people to understand you're not overweight, you're over poisoned, and you're over toxic, which is what gives you the inflammation. So go to bhnapp.com and download the Braveheart Nation app. This is also free to you. And when you get this app, you also can track your perfect day, get yourself a coach, get a perfect day consultation, and then start tracking your perfect day. And all the news and events, all the shows that we do are going to be under Evolve, which is the world's largest free online library of videos, guides, and audios for self-healing, you guys. Plus, it has the New World Practitioner Map. So when you click on that and put in your city and just make sure that you use the filter to make it as many miles as you're willing to go and find a practitioner close to you. Find someone with a Power Pack clinic that can really expedite this healing process for you. It's going to be amazing. Then connect with other brave hearts around the globe so that you are connecting with people who are also on a journey of self-healing and wanting to know the truth, because that's what's important to all of us. Okay. And then if you do the emotional intelligence masterclass, which is also being offered for free, then you can go to the perfect match and find somebody that you want to spend a life with who's also doing your work. And right now, Dr. Sage Wolfe is going around, like right now he's in Calgary, Canada. There are no more appointments available. But once he leaves Calgary, he's going to St. Louis, Missouri, where Tim and Sandy have an amazing Power Pack clinic. He's going to be doing the thermography, which is whole body thermography to find out where the inflammation is in your body. He's doing heavy metal testing. He's doing Wolfe Non-Surgical, cell sonic regeneration, and consultations. And so, if you're really ready to start your journey, then start it with all kinds of ammunition in your cache. You know, you want to make sure that you are fully engaged and ready and all in. So go to the masters who are teaching all of us masters, you know, go to the source. You don't know what you don't know, so let yourself off the hook and make another choice, because all of our power is in the present moment. There is nothing you can do about yesterday, 10 seconds ago. It's always the power of right now. In this moment, you can choose again, right? Anyway, July 6th to Tuesday, July 15th, 479-215-9592. And then he's coming here to Occidental, California. There are a couple of Wolfe Non-Surgical spots left, but if you're interested, give me a call, 707-322-1979. And then after he leaves me, that's going to be July the 20th to July 29th. Then he heads off to LA, July 31st to August 7th. You'll give Niren a call at 386-631-4066. Then he's off to Montreal, Quebec. Last time he's in Canada for a while, to the amazing, lovely Christine. And she speaks fluent French as well. So, you know, there's no language barrier if you're coming from Quebec. Give her a call at 438-929-0997. And you could always go to bhnuniversity.com if you're just checking in and click on Dr. Sage Wolfe's beautiful picture, and you can get all the information for where he's going to be and who to call. And these are the course dates. So Wolfe Non-Surgical and the Women's Pelvic Restoration is being held in Calgary, Canada. They started already. So yeah, they started on Saturday. Whoop. And then he's off to Ixtapa, Zewantineo. That's October 29th to November 23rd for all three courses. Wolfe Non-Surgical, whole life health certified, you know, and then the Women's Pelvic Restoration. All three of these courses will change your life. Get educated. Relearn all the crap that you've been taught, because it is crap and it has been done on a global level. And that's why when you go on Google and you search for something, you might be lucky if you get 1% of truth. So you want to make sure you know where you're going and who you're listening to, and making sure that you're getting the right information. Then we're going to be in Los Angeles from January 14th to February 8th, and then back to Mexico, January 28th to February 22nd. And look at this. This is our goal here at Braveheart Nation, is to go from patient to healer and victim to Braveheart. Get back in the driver's seat of your life. You are creating every second of your life with every choice that you make. Make educated choices, make the right choices. This is what I tell people. You are not a victim. You are driving your car. So let's become the best drivers out there. And then the DoD 5-star, he has one in Ixtapa, Zewantineo, but there's a new one opening in St. Cloud, Florida on Jim Gale's property, and that's going to be in 2026. I'm so excited. And look at all the different platforms that we're still on. So no matter which platform you're on, put your questions in there, because that's important. And like Judy said, listen, because reading, and they do that to try to bamboozle us. Seriously, you start reading stuff, and as soon as your mind starts seeing scientific names, you're offline. You're not really listening anymore. So when you hear something and they're breaking it down for you to tell you what it means, then you're able to absorb it, and you're able to hear it, and you're able to do something with it. And that's why I love listening to Dr. Judy. Sometimes I don't even look at the screen, because once you see all those things, your mind goes, "Ooh, that's just too much." Well, that's another lie you've been telling yourself. Your brain is an amazing, amazing software program that can take in so much stuff. You have been your whole life. So let's just make room for all the good stuff. Look at all the different platforms we're on. Wherever you listen to, you'll find us there. And we have fulfillment centers. So when you go to the DockADetoxStore.com, they're coming from the United States, they're coming from Canada, and now it's in Australia, so you're not having to wait so long. And let me tell you something, people are ordering. You refer people to us, say to a Power Pack or to any of the things, because we need more of these Power Pack clinics all over the world. This is real health and real healing. So go to DockADetoxPartners.com and earn commissions on referrals. And if you guys have a clinic, if you're a health practitioner, I don't care if you're doing massage therapy or whatever, and you've got people with inflammation, and as Dr. Judy says, if you've got inflammation, you can't heal. So you're going to give them these nutraceuticals and the things that they need in order to get the inflammation down so they can really become a wholesale buyer. You can ARP 855-900-4544 is the number we use for anybody, all the things we talk about. If you hit extension 0, you will be sent to the right person. For this one, it's extension 5. If you're an emailer, because you don't have great phone service, go to office.docadetox@gmail.com and someone will get back to you. And here it is. This is what a Power Pack Clinic looks like. I have the cell sonic regeneration and I have the cardio med bed. Imagine if you had perfect circulation. Imagine 35 sessions, 35 to 37 1-hour sessions, and your body is 20 years younger as far as your heart, your circulation goes, because you need to have oxygen in order to have synthesis and all the other things that we need to have done in our bodies, right? So become a Power Pack Clinic. Go to dodpowerpack.com and find out how you can become one. And right now in the United States, there is financing available, right? And so we want to see everybody in a Power Pack Clinic. And you will also get a certification. All these certifications come when you buy the cell sonic regeneration of the cardio med bed, because we want you to know what you're talking about. We want you to become the very best practitioner out there. And that means we have to educate ourselves, right? Here's the DoD 5-star health and healing. Look at this beautiful place. This is the one in Ixtapa, Mexico. I have been there. It is gorgeous. You have all kinds of healing modalities, including the pool, which is structured water. It is salt. And then you have all of the Power Pack things that we talked about and then some available to you while you're there. So you can cater it to whatever you need. If you need to go down and just get healing, come down and get healing. Take yourself out of your environment. Go someplace where you know the energy is positive, EMF free, and you can actually have real healing happen, because real healing happens with education, okay? If you can't get to any of our courses, personal certifications and training with Dr. Sage Wolfe are available. So you can also call that 855-900-4544. Again, it's extension 5. And see if he can't come to you. And this is our prices. You guys, this kind of education, I mean, when I think about all the years I went to school, right? And what I majored in, and then the year of med school, and I said to myself, all the money that I spent here, and I got more out of these courses, right? Whole life coach, you're going to have this for a lifetime. What you learn in this course is so valuable, because it's not just your physical body, it's emotional, it's spiritual. We are not a one, trick pony here. We're a 3-dimensional experience. 4, 5. 5, there we go. And then a Wolfe Non-Surgical, learn how to break up that scar tissue and calcification. And really, even if it's just for your family, imagine being able to do for each other for the rest of your lives and come back to that 120-year-old age, which every human being is supposed to live to, right? Not dropping like flies and in pain at 50 and 60. And then there is the New World Practitioner Certified, which is you take both courses together, because you know that this is what you want to do, like I did, and you take it 3 times, you become a master practitioner. And then the Pelvic Restoration and Disease Prevention Masterclass for women. And every woman on the planet, I don't care who you are, needs to take this course. We need to bring light back into our pelvic areas. Again, financing available for all these courses if you're in the USA. We're working on the rest. And get that perfect day consultation so that you have someone meeting you right where you are right now to take you on this journey. If you want Dr. Darrell Wolfe to do it for you, it is $250. You call that 855-900-4544 extension 1 to talk to Cynthia to schedule an appointment. There's also a WhatsApp number. When you go to perfectdayconsultation.com, this information will be there for you. You can get a New World Master Practitioner like myself for $150. And there's our wonderful sweatshirts. We also have hoodies. We've got t-shirts. We've got hats. And be a walking, advertisement, not for, our products so much as people will go, well, what's that? What's Braveheart Nation? And you can go, a platform where you can learn the truth and start your healing journey with all kinds of amazing people like Dr. Judy Mikovits coming on and being here with us. And here's the Perfect Day Lifestyle Guide. This is the ultimate healing guide. This is what I call my health Bible, not my founder's Bible. This is my health Bible. And so when you have an issue and you want to know how it's working in your body, He has managed to language it in a way that everybody can hear and read. And he talks real truth about what causes inflammation, the foods that you're eating. And Dr. Judy is right. We have been poisoned. So we do have to add nutraceuticals to our daily life because we are not getting it from our food the way we used to. So it is important that we heal ourselves. So go to pdgfree.com. It's also free under Evolve in the app that you downloaded for yourself, or you can buy it at the store for $95 delivered. And this is my other favorite, Healthy to 100. We have to change the title to Healthy to 120. And that's right. You're going to take all your power back because you're going to get back in the driver's seat. You're going to learn the truth about how your body works, realize it's an inflammation problem because that's what it is. We are an inflammation nation. And when there's inflammation, there is no healing. And that means we're all stressed out and we're not hearing, we're not in unconditional love, and you cannot give what you do not have for yourself. Because the only permanent healthcare is self-care, and the only permanent love is self-love. And we always say, you got to first love yourself to rise to your full potential, which is to fly. And I know I'm flying all over the place. And here at Braveheart Nation, we are stronger when we rise together. Go to bhnuniversity.com, the bhnapp.com, and start self-educating. This is free to you. We're bringing it free to you. So, Dr. Judy, before I do the Braveheart Oath, I want to say thank you again. How wonderful it is to always be able to, host your shows. Anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Cheryl, because I'm so looking forward to coming to Occidental. I'm so looking forward to coming there that week. I just planned it like a vacation the minute you said it, and you said it a little bit today in a way because it's Bodega Bay, and Bodega Bay has a lot of good memories for me and David. So my David, and so it's a thing of, yeah, I'm gonna go back to that place that was loving, and I just love the way you approach our classes and everything. So I'm going with a practitioner where I'm comfortable and where I can be totally in spirit when I get there and have my mind right for healing. It looks beautiful in Ixtapa, but hey, last time I went to Mexico, I got arrested. I can't make it back through Homeland Security, so that adds a level of stress. I'm not free to go there yet. Yes, I'm probably free to get in my car, but I'm not free in my mind yet. So I love the way you said that today, because every time I'm not free in my mind yet. So I love the way you said that today, because every time I listen, I learn something. So I appreciate you
coming to us as well. And I mean, I can't believe all the people that are coming up here that are ready, right? And I wish that I had places where people could stay on my property, but that isn't the case, because I run this out of my home. So people do have to get an Airbnb, or there's lots of places to stay in Bodega Bay, also Sebastopol, Santa Rosa, and here in Occidental. So lots of places to stay, and it's actually gorgeous. And she's right, because I'm like a mile and a half from the ocean. So,
It
there's
is
so
fantastic.
many beaches that you can walk on. Can you imagine? You come, you get your healing, and then you go right there. You get all that iodine coming off the ocean. You walk the beaches and continue the healing journey. And you know what? The other magical thing about being out there by the ocean is, yeah, not much cell phone coverage out there. So you get to just be with yourself. So let's finish the show with our Braveheart Nation oath. Just take a minute. And we say, I am love, I am healed, I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment I rise until I gently close my eyes, I will always trust, honor, respect, protect, forgive, and totally love myself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else. So help me God, because I can. I am loved. I am healed. I am Braveheart. And of course, you guys all know I am all in. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right, I will email you the protocol you need, love.
Okay, thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to get all of those things, and I appreciate that. So I gave you 2 emails just in case. The one that is Noldy is the one that's on this computer, but they keep hacking. I hate these AI updates. It's like every